So next we're going to talk about polyrhythms, but not polyrhythms for the sake of, well, not necessarily, for the sake of throwing them in with like your beats and your fills, but using polyrhythms as an exercise. This is something I never really thought about until I actually started making this book and I started to mess around with these different ideas. But for those of you that don't know, a polyrhythm is two rhythms that are going against each other. So if we have our downbeat and we want 4 16th notes to come between every downbeat, that's one rhythm. That's one rhythm right there. But then you could have a grouping of 3 going over that. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So triplets going over that. If you put those together, you got a polyrhythm. So you'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That'd be a polyrhythm. So then you can move that to a polymeter, which is different. This blew my mind when I learned this. So, there are 2 meters going against each other, which isn't crazy to hear, but what that would mean is we would have, let's look at it in terms of accents. So we would have every 4 notes, we would have a hit, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. That repeats every 1 measure if we're in 4/4. If we have a grouping of 3 going over that, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, but we're still in 16th note land, then it becomes a polymeter. So three, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That doesn't repeat, that doesn't match up until a few measures pass by. So that's what makes it different. So if we're to make 16th notes, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a, if we're to put a grouping of 3 instead of an accent pattern of 3, a grouping of 3 over that, we'd have, let's make the pattern hi-hat, hit with the right hand, snare, and then close. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But we're not in triplets. We're not in groupings of 3. We're in groupings of 4. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and mess it up. That's all it took. Again, I need to practice tonight. But with that idea, that can make a really good exercise. Because if we start to mark where those checkpoints are, we can really build our coordination. So we have that. But we want to mark where the downbeats are. We want to mark counts 1, 2, 3, and 4. We'll mark those with 1, 2, 3, and 4. So by doing that, we're going to work through every single combination of 2 limbs that you could have. You're going to work through that hitting with the bass drum, that hitting with the bass drum, that hitting with the bass drum, and the same for the snare. So you'd have But so you work through every combination. That's why it makes such a good exercise, because you're building your coordination. And I went to a Dave Weckl clinic one time. Dave Weckl, he's a really great fusion drummer. He was like one of the top 3 drummers back in the 70s. He's an actual legend. And I was lucky enough to see him do a clinic. And one of the questions towards the end of the clinic, someone was like if you want us to take anything away from your clinic, like what do you want us to take away? And he said, you should build your coordination, because it really pays off. Because the drummer's arch nemesis is the stupid ghost note and bass drum hitting together. That takes so long to get, if anyone's tried that. There's something about it, and we usually like to have the snare come before the bass drum. So this exercise, works on that along with every other combination that you can have. And it doesn't only go for just close hit snare, close hit snare. You can do that with any combination of polyrhythm. And again, I mean, that's something you could throw in as a fill as well.